Can you see my screen?
No, I can't see your screen.
Okay. 18, sorry. So can you all see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen now.
Okay. So we'll be starting the class now. So first and foremost, this is narrative class, and it's going to be more practical. So the first thing we are going to be talking about, like I said, is how to set up a new file using Figma. So most of you might be kind of finding it difficult to set up your Figma file, which is quite easy. So what we're going to be doing now for our first task would be setting up a new Figma file. And I'm pretty sure you guys must have heard of FigJam. FigJam is another kind of design in Figma that allows people to create user flow and information architecture, which is also called sitemap. So that is what FigJam is used for. But in this case, we're going to be focusing more on Figma. So this is what we are going to do now. I'm going to be sharing screen of Figma environment. So I hope you guys follow along with me. So this is Figma environment now. You can see this is new design file, and this is a new FigJam file. So if you are to create a new file for your Figma designs, you are going to be using the first option in the left side of your screen, which I'm hovering on. So you double click on it. So while we are waiting for most times what works you are work maybe your recent files are actually saved on this side of your screen. That is where you're going to get anything that is recent document that you have been working on. So yes, this is the new file you've opened. um Now the first thing we are going to be doing is introduction to the design patterns. Okay, understanding the pages types and names. So pages that you can use for are used to present and deliverables for your clients. Now, what do I mean by deliverables? Deliverables are component of your UIS case study. For instance, in case studies, we have what we call mapping, we have what we call competitor analysis, we have what we call information architecture, we have what we call your digital wireframes, and so on and so forth. So now, if you want to make your presentation more concise and more compact, so what you need to do is creating pages using you see at the top left side of your screen, you can see the plus button, that's the addition button. So you can easily create any page. Meanwhile, while creating page, you can easily edit. Let me just say this would be just project. So once you are done with the editing, you can easily press your enter key, but so that would effect the changes immediately. So you can see the page one. You can also change that to let me see mango, because that's what's coming up right now. So it's a Mango. So we changed page one to Mango and this second page to just project. So that is how creating a page works. You can easily create another using the plus button. So that is how that works. So the next one on our agenda is understanding the values of frames. So in Figma, you would be asking me what are frames, like what are they using frame for? Frame is more or less like a container that helps in your presentation. This is more or less like I don't know if you guys have heard of something like CSS. Maybe if you are conversant with a web development process, so it's more or less like a boss, that house your elements that together. Yes. So if you want to create that, you can easily look onto your left top left side of your screen, which is this hash button here. So you can create that. This is the frame is the first part of your the options are here, or you can easily press F in your keyboard. So that is how frame works. Meanwhile, while pressing the F button, you can see the right side of your screen that it has actually changed. You can see phone, you can see tablet, you can see desktop, markup, MacBook Air, and so on and so forth. So whichever frame you want for your designs, sometimes you might want to create a mobile design, sometimes you want to create the one for desktop, that's web design. Sometimes you want to create the one for watch. Sometimes it might be in presentation form. So in presentation form, you're actually going to be going to the presentation side. This presentation something here, which is a slide, which is 16 by 9 and 4 by 3. So depending on the one you want to choose, for this let me just make use of the iPhone 14 frame. This is the iPhone 14 frame. You can see so this is how it looks like. So that is the frame. You can actually change the color here. You can actually change the color, whichever color you want to change it to. That's for that. But we're still going to be sticking with white background. So for the next one, we'll be talking about understanding how components are stored. Now, what are components? In design, especially in product designing, components are reusable elements in which you can use over and over again. For instance, let's say you are working for a company that does tons of work, probably in week in, week out. And instead of you creating buttons over and over again, instead of you using icons over and over again, so what you're going to do is create a component in which you can use often and often. So the only thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be re-editing them. So if as the case may be, for instance, now let's create a component for a button. So the first thing I'm going to do is I can actually use that drawing a rectangle. This is a rectangle here now. Let me just change the color to let me change the color to blue. This is blue here. Okay, this is blue here. So I'm actually so if you want to your test, you can find your test button using so your test option using the T sign that is here. That's at the top left side of your screen, or you can actually press T that will take you there. So let me just put in. So I think that's there.
Sorry,
So
Boston. Can you hear me? Boston, can you hear me?
yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Please, can you accept people that are waiting outside this call?
Okay, I think I've accepted them. So are we all good now? Can we proceed?
Yes, yes, please.
Yes, proceed.
Okay. So this is the button. So actually it looks kind of odd using black on blue background. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna change that to white. Okay, now this looks better. So the thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to change the border radius. Actually, if you want to change the border radius of a rectangle, if you are zooming out, you are not going to see a node. This is I'm talking about this node here, this white inside the yellow. I'm sorry, the blue rectangle. Or if you are zooming out, you're not going to be seeing this. But notwithstanding, you can actually change that at the right side of your screen. So let me change that to 15 so it looks more compact. So that is that. The next thing we're going to be doing now, we are going to be grouping the text and the rectangle together. So let me do that by using Control G, or you can actually right click and you see your create group. This is it here. Control G, that's group selection. So in this case, I'm going to be using Control G, which is more faster for me. But before that, I will want to talk about aligning of objects in design, especially in Figma. It is more professional. Like I say, it is very, 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 very essential when you align your works. Your works are being aligned. Basically, that is one of the first thing professional designers, especially those outside, they look at before they look at your visual layout. So the thing you are going to be doing, you are going to be making use of these tools. I mean, in your top, in the top right side of there are some align options here at the top right side of the screen, which I'm moving on. We have the align left, we have the align horizontal center, we have the align right, we have the align top, and so on and so forth. Mind you, they all have their fast fast way of doing that. So the fastest way of doing that can actually, okay, let me just stick with this. Okay, let me just align them to the center using the option here and align them horizontally. So I think that's better now. So what we are going to be doing next now, we are going to be adding auto layout. Mind you, I want you to know the difference between grouping and grouping an object and adding auto layout to an object. There are two different ways of doing that. There are two different of doing that. So yes, let me duplicate this. The first one is grouped, while this one is going to be auto layout. So I want to add my auto layout. You can actually find that at the right side of your screen. You can see the plus button. Once you just hover on the plus button, you click that, or you can actually use your Shift A. That's the shortcut of adding auto layout to whatever you want to do. So the first part is grouped, while the second part is auto layout. So now let me just, I want to, for in the case whereby I want to change, I want to edit the text that is inside. Let me say something like get started. You can see the container is actually aligned, is actually being compatible with that of the test. As it is increasing, so also the container, which is this blue background, is also going with it. So that is the beauty of auto layout. You don't need to stress yourself creating another rectangle or readjusting the rectangle. Now this is what I'm talking about. Let me just repeat the same step using the grouped item. Get right. You can see the rectangular background doesn't adjust to the text I was doing. So that is how auto layout works. That is just how auto layout works. It's more easier when you are using auto layout because you can actually use the button later on of your design. So that is that. The fifth part is going to be learning about various devices. In this part, is more or less related to that of the frame, is more or less related to that of the frame we created earlier on. So but what we are going to be doing now is let me just it again for the sake of those coming in. So we have phone. Under phone, different types of phone. We have that of Android and that of um, different devices. Under the tablet, we also have so many. We have the iPad, we have Surface Pro 8, we have iPad Mini 8.3, and so on and so forth. And under the desktop, now the desktop part is where most of our designs and web designs are being used. If you want to create a web design, this is actually how, sorry, this is actually how it is being created. So the only thing we are going to be doing at the long run is we are just going to be adjusting the height, since if there is need be. So that is that for web design. But in the case of if you want to present something like a slide, Google slide or something, so Google slide, the actual this is it here. Sorry, let me just delete this. For Google slide, the actual you can see this is 1920 by 1080. So that is the actual measurement for Google Slides. That's for any presentation you want to do. So meanwhile, we also have that of Wash for all these Apple Wash, and there are different sizes. We also have that of A4 paper, A4 paper, A6 paper, and so on and so forth. And you can also find the likes of social media, Figma community, um, in the rest part of your frames. So the next part of the lesson is mastering the design session. Now this session is going to be this session is actually going to look more practical, because we are going to be talking about different set of sorry, I'm trying to create a frame where we can do some work here. So now in I want to create a rectangle. You can create a rectangle by clicking there's this option here at the top left side of the screen. You have the rectangle, we have the line, we have the arrow, we have the eclipse. Eclipse is that of circle here, polygon star. And so instead of that, you can actually press R. That's as a shortcut to creating a rectangle. So this is it here. So in this space now, I just want you to be conversant with how options at the at the right hand side of the screen works. Now I want to align this now, and do that by pressing Alt H and Alt V. That's align horizontal and align vertical. So what I'm going to be doing now, I want to add color. Now in color section, you can actually add any color you want to. This is how it works. You can just add any color, and this is this one here is what we call the opacity. You can actually change that by dragging through whichever ones you feel that is convenient
Sorry,
for your
Martin.
design. That
Sorry
is
to
that.
cut you again. People are still waiting on Google Meet.
Okay. All right, so you can actually change that by just dragging through whichever opacity you want to. Now, one thing in design is you don't usually change depending on whatever background you want to use. You don't just change opacity of a color. Now it depends. For instance, it is actually being more practical. Sorry, if you are using, for instance, now let me see. Let me duplicate this. I want to use a test now. Let me see. Um, the, the dog likes bone. So I actually want to increase this so that it should be more visible for the others. Um, so the dog likes bone. So basically now, if I actually there are some situations that you might want to reduce the opacity of your text. So what I'm saying in essence is in whatever situation you find yourself, don't be tempted to use a gray text on a colored background. I'm just saying that because sometimes you might be overwhelmed by the visual hierarchy principle. Maybe you don't want the text to show to be more prominent, so you might be tempted to use a gray don't do that. It is not professional. That's like believe something like this, something like this. I think this is better and it is just something like instead of that for that. I just have to remind you guys. So in this section I've created the rectangle and I've applied the color. And yeah, you can see the opacity. The opacity of the color is at 77%. So I can actually change that here instead of me clicking to the color itself. But using this color now, probably maybe you are doing some things that you actually don't want to see the color for the time being. So you can hide the visibility by just clicking there's this icon that is at the fill section here. So you can just click that. You can see the color has disappeared. So that is how it. So if you actually want to see that again, you can click again. So that is how it works. Um, that's for the visibility. Now there's what we call stroke in design. So let me just. This is actually so you can actually increase the. You can see this is a stroke now. If you want to increase the width of the stroke, you can actually do that by increasing the length of this. You can see how wide it is. So depending on whatever you want to do, you can also change the color here too as well. You have the okay, I think this looks better. So in this session, you can actually turn this eclipse to an arc. That is, in case there are some situations whereby you might want to create something like a chart, probably for a design. So you could use something like this to create chart. So let me just see. This is can all see. So this is actually for you to drag, for you to move the points around, and this is for you to increase or decrease the length of the arc. You can all see how it is. So in this case now, I want to duplicate. You can duplicate by pressing Ctrl D, or you can actually press your right. You can right click to duplicate. Also, so that is So let me just change the color of this to gray. I think this one is kind of a. So you can actually drag this. So these are one of the ways in which designers employ to create anything that has to do with chart. Though there are different means of creating chart, there are also plugins for you to create chart, but these are also one of the means of creating chart. So the next thing we are going to be talking about is effects. Now effects, what are the sections on effects? We have drop shadows, we have inner shadows, and we have layer blur. We also have background blur. So in inner shadows, if actually done, let me create a rectangle for that. So this is a color now. I want to try the inner shadow option. So you can actually adjust the shadow by this X. What X implies is that the one from the side, while the Y is the one from the top and bottom. So from your left to right, is what S implies. Y from your top to bottom is what
Sorry, Boston, people are
Y
looking at
implies.
you.
So with so are we all good now? Can you all hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you can actually increase this to 10, this to 13. I think you can see this. Let me change the Y to 0. So you can see from your is the shadow is actually coming from the right side, so which is S. You can come from the right side, you can go to the left side, you can see how it is. So that is what S denotes. For that of Y, you can actually create something like this. So Y is coming from the top to the bottom side of your design. So whatever designs you want, you can actually do that. Meanwhile, there is a opacity option at the down part of the inner shadow in which you can actually change. Most designers don't like heavy shadows, so it is more professional when you change all your shadows. Anytime you are having a shadow, like you're having you want to create a shadow for your designs, it is more ideal and it looks more professional if you change them to something like a light gray. Yes, and you can actually change the blur something so that it looks more compact with the design. So let me go to the drop shadow. The drop shadow is actually talking about the shadow that is going to be attached to the outside part of the design. For instance, now this is a rectangle. Now we want to add the drop shadow. You can see it's not visible now because okay. Let me just use 20. Okay, now you can see something like a shadow at the down part of the rectangle, and you can also see that at the right hand side of the rectangle. So what you need to do now for it to be more clean, you're actually going to use your blur option. So using your blur option, you can actually start from 25. Let's say I go from 25. I think is looking more. You can actually do let me that to 35. I think that's getting better. I think 40. Best you can also reduce the opacity 10. Since you are using 15, you can actually use it to 10. So yes, this looks more clean. You can see it is not shouting, it is not prominent. It's actually, but you can see there's a background there. So that is how shadow works. And lastly, we are going to be talking about um layer blur. For that of layer blur, this is let me use let's assume I want to use this color. So if I'm to change the layer blur of this, so you can actually do that by clicking. There is something like a sunshine icon at the front of the layer option. So you can actually click through and drag the mouse, or you can actually input the value of whatever you want to. So you please do well by muting your button so we can have a. So yes, you can see the layer blur is actually working. You can see it's actually working. You can see I'm increasing the value now. You can see. Let me just make use of 500, or better still, if there is need, if you think the color is kind of more um flashy, you can actually change the opacity. Let me change that to 60. I think it works better now. You can see you can actually increase that if you want to increase your if you want to increase anything in Figma design. There are different ways of increasing. You can actually increase by just pressing your move button. The move button has a shortcut for it, which is V. You can actually do that by just dragging the object here. Better still, if you don't want to tamper with the dimensions of your designs or whatever object you are creating, there's a better way of using of increasing that using your scale button, and that is by pressing K as a shortcut. So the difference between move button and that of scale button is in your moving button you can actually tamper with your width is being tampered with. Meanwhile, your height, the height of the shape will actually be. Let me create a let me create a rectangle so we can see what I'm talking about. I'm actually going to add a color. Okay, I think this looks better. So what I'm talking about is you can easily move increase a shape by just pressing V, and just dragging it and But in this case now, it is actually tampering with the dimension of the shape. But if you want to do that you don't want to tamper with I mean you don't want the width to be more than the height. So there's a better way of doing that. That is your scale option. You can actually do that by clicking your. There is this option at the top left side of the screen, or you can also press key. So using that now, you can drag whatever you want. You can see they are both moving proportionally. So there is no way it's actually going to tamper with themselves. So that is that for that. So for this case now, I'm actually going to use that skill and that same skill button to increase the size. So you can actually do that. This is it. So let me see. I want to duplicate this now. Something like this. Let me change the color of this. Let me change it to something like okay. So yes, I think this looks so that is basically how layer block works. So the last option in the design patterns is the export option. In your export, maybe in some case you are done with the design you want to export. That is, you want to maybe convert them to JPEG, you want to convert them to PDF. So the export option is actually what works well. So in this session now, what you are going to be doing now, you are going to click on the frame. So this frame that I'm using now, you can see here now, the bottom left of the screen now. I can actually change this to JPEG. I can change it to SVG. I can change it to PDF. The let me give you when you are exporting JPEG, Adobe or Photoshop and the likes. But in case you want to re-edit some text within the design, it is not possible. Or probably if you want to click a link, you want to access a link, if you are using your JPEG and PNG format, it's not going to be possible. But you can actually do that using your PDF. In your PDF, you have access to any link in that design. You can actually click on any link on that design. While your SVG, you can change colors, you can change anything as far as it is in SVG. So that is different between this format. The PDF, you have access to link, you have access to click some link, and probably you can edit some text. In SVG, you can change colors, you can change the designs entirely. In JPEG, you don't have access except you use some other tools like Adobe. So that is what the formats look like. So we are going to be exporting now. Before that, we are going to be previewing what you want to export. You can see this is what you want to export at the downward part of the screen here. So that is how it is. So I'm just going to click on the export frame. So yes, it has been exported to the. So it's because I'm using a web version of Figma. If I'm using a software, it's actually going to tell me ask questions about the name of the file. I want to save it to my computer. So that is how export works. So we are going to be talking about sessions, and briefly, I think my time is running out. Briefly, session is basically um, incorporated because sometimes you have tons of designs on your pages and you actually want to categorize them. So let me just say the basic function of section feature is because it gives you access to classify and organize your designs under a page. Now, how is that done? Let me just
Sorry, Boston. Please, there are people at the lobby. Can you please accept them?
okay. So the session works. This is actually you can actually find the session button by the frame side of the there are these icons at the top left side of your screen. You can actually find your session there. So this is the second part is the session. This is how it works. So now what I want to say is why are we using section? You know, sometimes let me just see. I want to create a frame for iPhone. Okay, I want to create for iPhone 14. I'm trying to align that to the center. So I want to change the opacity. So um so this is that of iPhone 14. Let me create another one again by duplicating. You can actually do that by pressing your Ctrl D. So this is for iPhone 14. So now basically this is what I want to do now. There are different types of frame, and what I want to do now is I want to classify them into sections. Let me these ones are let me designs for one client, and I'm actually comparing and contrasting some design styles, design system I can use for them. So instead of me just adding them together all together and making them, so this is what I can actually do. I can just drag the ones that I feel. Let me see for frame one. Okay, so that section, you see it automatically change to frame two because there's a digit at the last part of it, so it actually works automatically without you editing. So let me say this is how the designs work. I can actually classify them into sections using this our section button that is on the top left side of the screen. So it is basically to organize, to classify your files. Like you don't want them to be disorganized. So that is how we use section. And the last part is understanding prototyping and CSS features. So yes, we are going to be creating a frame for this. Let me use an iPhone 13 mini frame. So in this case now, I'll be making use of a plugin. I'll be making use of a plugin. But first and foremost, we are going to create a rectangle. This is a rectangle. You can actually align to the center by clicking option at the top right side of your screen. You can actually um, change the radius. I think this looks better now. Okay, so the next thing we are going to be doing now is we are going to duplicate this. Want to duplicate this, but we are not going to be making use of this rectangle. We want to create another rectangle. That so this is a rectangle. In this case now I'll be plugin. I want to use a plugin. I will So yes, if you are using a plugin for in case this is the first time you are hearing of your plugin, this how it actually works. In plugin, this one is actually apparent because I've saved them on my file before. So basically, you can find more plugins in the community section. So if whatever plugins you are looking for, you can just search, just like the one I want to use now, the Unsplash plugin. The Unsplash is basically for pictures, portraits, architecture designs, interior designs, and whatever pictures you are looking for. And the Unsplash plugin has got you covered. Why the second one I use is Content Tree. Actually, this Content Tree works more or less like if you need to create some profile images, some profile names, and maybe emails, and or some other things like that. So you can use your content tree. So you can actually do that by saving them first before you run them. So the third one is feather icons. These are actually where I get my icons. I get my icons from. And the fourth one here is charts. The charts is actually for if you want to create a Venn diagram, pie charts, more or less like bar chart and stuff like that. Is actually what you use plugin for. So in this case now, I want to make use of Unsplash plugin. So I'm going to run that now. So using this now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click the rectangle I created. So then I can look for any section I want to. Let me just make use of abstract now. So these are the pictures that is coming out now. Okay. Let me go with this. So you can see now it appears inside the rectangle I created, and that is how it works. You actually have to click the rectangle before you click on any picture on the plugin. If you are not clicking it, for instance, now if let me assume I'm not clicking anything now and I'm clicking on this splash image here, it's actually going to be a big mess on my project, on my work. So you can see because I didn't click on any frame, any object, that is why it is popping up on the design. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to click on the rectangle again and do the same thing. So that is why you need to click on any object before you make use of your Unsplash button. So the next one is I'm actually going to repeat the same step in the second frame. I'm clicking on the file now. This is the file. So yes, this is what I wanted now. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I want to create a prototype. What prototype, how it works is basically it's how you interact with pages, different let's say buttons and component of your designs. In this case now, let me assume that this picture now, you actually want to see a full measurement, the full dimension of the picture. So what you're going to do now, you want to create an interaction whereby if a user clicks this this rectangle in the first frame, it's actually going to result to the second frame here. So this is what we're going to do. There is this sections at the top right side of the screen. We have the design, we have the prototype, and we have the inspect. So in this case now, we're going to make use of the prototype section. So how are we going to do that? We click on this. You can see a plus button at the right side of this rectangle here. So what you're going to do now, you're going to drag that plus button to the next object, to the next frame rather. So you can see there's this option that pops up. So what is on tap? This on tap means whenever you click on this, it's actually going to result to the next frame, which is the picture on this frame. Or if you drag it, if you drag this element, just like if you are dragging, you are swiping your phone, it's actually going to result to this. Why this one is over, if you just over your mouse on it, it's going to result to this. But in this case now, I'm making use of on tap. So we are clicking that. So navigate to is actually if you want to transit to another page, that is what a navigate means. So in this case, we are making use of navigate. So for the last part is how you want the design to interact. Now there's this option we have dissolve, we have instant, we have smart animate. Most designers make use of smart animate because it's actually
But
more
please, can you accept some people into the call?
what do you say?
Okay. Okay, don't worry. Then make it fine.
Okay, so you can actually change to smart animate. Now once you click the smart animate, there are different ways to actually achieve that. We have the linear, we have the easing, we have the easing and out, we have the easing back, we have the insert back, and so on and so forth. But in this case, we are going to be making use of the insert. Now, how fast do you want those transitions to be? Do you want them to be a slow type? Do you want um,
Can we see your Boston?
Oh, actually, I thought it's only for me. No, I can't.
Boston, we can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, guys.
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
it's better. It's better now.
Okay. Okay, so this is the flow part now. You can see a flow option at the top left side of the first frame I created. So what does it imply? It actually means this is where the prototyping is going to start from. I can actually drag this now to the next frame. So me dragging this flow to the next frame means it's going to start at this side, but I don't want it to start at this side because I started my prototyping from the post frame. So that is how it works. So you want to see the magic now that happens. So for you to see the magic, there's this play button that is at the top right side of the screen. You can see this play button beside the zoom option. So we're actually going to check that out now. So while we're waiting for that, let me just explain some other design properties that we ought to know. So if you want to create a new design, there are so many options you have at this file options here. You have the file, you have the edit, you have the view. In this view, you can actually change the way you see your screen and all that. The object. Once you create an object, the option will be more applicable. While we have the text and all that. So for this frame, if you want to create your frame, this is actually where you go to, or you can of my picture, which is by pressing P, or you can actually change this here. So with this, you hold down your shift and you change. Sorry. I'm trying to. Uh, trying to. So yes, this is I've drawn a line, so you can actually increase that here. using the option that is at this side, and you can also change the color. I think this is more quite bigger. So I can change that here. I also change the color of this as well. So that is how the pen tool works. And we also have the text tool. The text tool, if you want to type some things, so this is how the pen tool works. You can actually edit. You can change the font to different one you like, and you can actually change the weight to either of the options that are there. So let's go to the prototype results we're waiting for. Um, I think he's having a problem coming up. So this is the visual part, the first part of the.
Sorry guys, I think Boston is having network issues. So please let's wait for him to join again.
I'm sorry, guys. I had a little interruption in my network. So I will be starting the presentation now.
Please share your screen.
Yeah. Can you all see the screen?
Not yet.
No.
Can you all see the screen now?
Yes, you can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for the interruption. So this is for those joining the class now. This is basically what we want to do. We want to create interactive between the first frame. This is the frame, the first frame. This is the first frame here, and the second frame. So imagine if you are clicking through this image that is at the center of the first frame, and you want it to transit to this larger image at the second side of the frame. So that is basically what prototype is all about. Though it is more or less how you click on buttons, how it leads to another pages, how you click on links, how it leads to another pages. So that is how prototype um, features works in Figma. So let me see the result of. So this is now I'm going to be refreshing. So now if you look at it now, if I click on any part of this screen here now, if you click on any part of this screen, you can actually see it's drawing me it's drawing my attention to the image that the interaction at this side is only on the image. That is why the blue is actually popping up. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to click on the image that is inside the screen now. You can see this is how it works. So you can actually start that by pressing your R button. It's actually going to go back to the former something. So you can see how it works. You can see it's slow and kind of more okay, yes. So if you want it to be fast, you can actually do that using your. So in this one, we in this case we made use of 300 milliseconds. You can actually increase that maybe to 900 or something. So you don't need to enter your MS because automatically when you enter the value, it's actually going to bring the next thing. So let's see how that works. Press the tab button. You can see it's quite different from the first one. So that is how Figma works. And in the later part of the course, we are actually going to be learning about prototyping in a more advanced way. So that will be the end of this class. So before that, before I come to conclusion, I'm actually going to um, say something. Let me remove this. So the major reasons why product designers, especially when you are using Figma, the major reasons why most developers actually wait for designers is anytime designs have been created on Figma, automatically there are some other ways in which developers can access them. We have that of front-end developers, the web developers can access the files you are working on, I mean the designs you are working on, and the iOS developers and also the Android developers can also access that. Now, how do you get to that point? You can actually get to that by clicking the inspect button at the top right side of your screen. Now, using that, using your inspect button, it actually gives you the property of whatever image or whatever designs you are created so far. As you can see now, the width of this is 375 pixel. You can see on the top right side, you can see the colors here, and you can see this is the CSS part. This CSS is actually for developers. You can change it to iOS. You can see these are the options for iOS developers. You can also change it to Android. So these are the options for that of iOS developer. So in any case, if you are working with a developer and you are asked to share them the file or anything, so basically you can actually come here and share them whatever you want to So I think that is how that works. So in this session we'll be entertaining questions. If there is any question, let's raise up our hand. I'll be picking whoever raises his hand up, I'll be picking. So let's do that in an orderly manner, please. Any questions? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So if there's any question, I want you to signify so we can move on to the conclusion and call it a day.
Someone is asking a question on the chat box.
Okay. Okay. Um, yes, there will be more Figma training as the class goes on by. And better still, I'm still going to drop. I've recorded some videos that can be more helpful for you guys. So if you want to create a more advanced auto layout and component, as you practice, like they say, practice makes perfect. So whatever videos, whatever clips you're watching, you're actually going to be more perfect if you keep on working on that. So that is why most designers they incorporate these essential features like auto layouts, components, design systems, and all of that in their designs all the time, so that they actually want to be professional. Yes, let me say professional. So the more you work with those features, the more you become perfect. So there will be more figure training. So any question again apart from this? Any other questions? I want to believe there is no question again. So if there is no question, I'll be going to the conclusion part of the. So this um Figma is very very tricky to for mostly product designers, and I would say 70% of product designers make use of um, Figma because it has a lot of features that you also want to dive in. So Figma is simple to start using, but there's a lot to learn to use for it to attain its full potential. With basis of shapes, images, text, you can easily get started prototyping the website, designing mobile application, and much more. So basically, you can't know everything at once. It's all step. It's going to be starting is step by step. So in our next class, we're actually going to be talking about design system. So we are going to go to an advanced level of how you can interact with your Figma environment. So I'll be sending some videos to you. I'll be sending the link at the Slack channel, so you guys can just watch that and learn and so you see how it works. So that is how that goes. So the last part is the assignment. So the first part is you are going to be creating a component using 20 different icons of your choice. Um oh I've actually created a component video. I created a component video, so I'll be dropping the link. Because of the time I'm given, I can't cover everything. So you'll be creating a component using the video that I'm going to be dropping. Then the second one is create buttons with auto layouts, just like I created in the lesson. You can actually do that on your own too. So the last part is summarize why professional designers make use of sections in their workflow. this I've said earlier, you can just come up with them. So we are going to be submitting this using Google Doc. Yes, Google Doc. So I think that will be the end of class. Thank you very much for joining the class. I appreciate everyone. So if there's any question, you can drop them in the Slack channel. I will attend to them. And please make sure you stick to the deadline of the assignments you have been given. It is very, very essential. At this stage, any assignment, any task being given is actually going to be more benefit because the enthusiasm you have to keep on practicing. I mean the passion you have to bring on the passion and make sure you don't get tired. And it is through this assignment you can actually bring about that. So that will be all for tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do have a good